Someone in your circle is smiling at you right now. But deep down, they're hoping you don't make it. They laugh with you, they hug you, they say things like, "I'm proud of you." Yet every time something good happens in your life, every win, every breakthrough, every step forward, they ask a single question that quietly drains the joy out of the moment. A question that leaves you feeling awkward for succeeding, guilty for growing, smaller than you were 5 seconds ago. That's not curiosity. That's jealousy disguised as friendship. And once you learn to recognize these questions, you'll never hear them the same way again. I'm not here to make you paranoid. I'm here to give you clarity. Because jealousy doesn't always look like hate. Sometimes it sounds like concern. Sometimes it hides inside jokes. And sometimes it shows up as questions that sound innocent until you replay them later and think, wait, why would you even ask me that? Almost everyone has asked one of these questions at some point. The difference isn't the words, it's the intention behind them. Let's break it down. Question 1. So how did you even manage to do that? On the surface, this sounds supportive, curious, almost impressed. But pay attention to the tone. A genuine friend asks because they want to understand the process. A jealous friend asks because they don't believe you deserve the outcome. Notice how it's framed. Not, "I'm proud of you. Teach me how you did it." Not, "That's inspiring. What can I learn from you?" Instead, there's usually a pause, a raised eyebrow, a half smile that doesn't reach the eyes, as if they're trying to solve a puzzle that shouldn't exist. Because in their mind, you weren't supposed to win. This question isn't about your journey, it's about disbelief. They're mentally scanning for explanations that make your success feel smaller. Luck, timing, connections, shortcuts. Anything that allows them to say, "Oh, that's why." Because that explanation gives them relief. When you talk about discipline, consistency, or sacrifice, they go quiet. When you mention struggle, they nod a little too eagerly. And when you mention luck, they finally relax. Because luck means it wasn't really you. A jealous friend hates one thing more than your success, the idea that you earned it. So when someone keeps asking, "How did you even manage to do that?" Every time you level up, understand this. They're not asking to be inspired. They're asking to be reassured that you're not ahead of them. Question 2. Don't you think you're doing too much? This one is dangerous because it wears a mask. It pretends to care about your mental health, your balance, your peace. But let's be honest, nobody asks this when you're wasting your potential. Nobody asks this when you're stuck. Nobody asks this when you're average. They only ask it when you start moving differently. When your schedule tightens, when your priorities shift, when your goals begin to cost comfort. Suddenly you're doing too much. Suddenly you've changed. Suddenly they miss the old you. Of course they do. The old you didn't challenge their position in your life. The old you didn't force them to look at their own excuses. The old you made them feel safe. This question is a request disguised as advice, a request for you to slow down so they don't feel left behind. A real friend may worry about your burnout, but they'll never try to shrink your ambition. They might say, "Rest," but they'll never say, "Stop." They might say, "Pace yourself," but they'll never say, "Dim your light." A jealous friend wants you comfortable, not fulfilled, predictable, not powerful, available, not ascending. So when someone keeps asking if you're doing too much, listen carefully. Sometimes too much really means you're doing more than me, and it's making me uncomfortable. That discomfort is not your responsibility. Question 3. Why are you acting different? This is the guilt question. The one that hits your identity. The one that makes you second-guess your growth. It makes you wonder if you've become arrogant, distant, cold. But here's the translation they won't say out loud. They're not asking why you changed. They're asking why you no longer fit the role they assigned you. Growth always looks like betrayal to people who benefited from your old limits. When you stop oversharing, when you stop explaining yourself, when you stop being available on demand, when you stop tolerating nonsense, they call it acting different. No, you're acting aligned. You cannot upgrade your life and keep the same dynamics. It's impossible. Someone always loses access. Someone always feels threatened. Someone always feels exposed. So they ask this question hoping you'll apologize for evolving, hoping you'll reassure them that you're still the same, still reachable, still beneath them in some way. Because if you're different, they have to face the fact that they stayed the same. Are you sure some of your friends aren't envying you? This one is projection, and it almost always comes from someone who feels competitive, threatened, or behind. People who envy you often accuse others of envy. People who feel insecure talk constantly about fake friends. People who feel stuck obsess over comparison. Jealous friends project because they can't admit how they feel. They'll warn you about fake people while resenting you quietly. They'll joke about your success being temporary. They'll downplay your wins to protect their ego. Projection is how insecurity hides. Sometimes you only realize this years later, when you look back and notice who subtly discouraged you, who questioned your progress, who made your growth feel awkward instead of exciting. They weren't trying to hurt you. They were trying to protect their self-image, and that makes them dangerous. Question 5. Must you tell people about everything? This one sounds like advice. Almost wise, almost protective. But listen carefully. This question usually appears right after you share a win, not when you're venting, not when you're struggling, only when something goes right. What they're really saying is, your success is loud and it's making me uncomfortable. A secure friend celebrates your voice. A jealous one tries to lower the volume. They'll frame it as humility, as privacy, as maturity. But notice the pattern. They never say this when someone else is bragging. They only say it when you are visible. Because every time you speak about your progress, it forces them to confront their own stagnation. So they encourage silence, not for your protection, but for their peace. Remember this, there's a difference between being humble and being hidden. And anyone who benefits from you staying small will always call it being modest. Question 6. Are you sure you're not just getting lucky? This question is subtle disrespect. It sounds harmless, almost optimistic. But luck is the cleanest way to erase effort without looking cruel. Luck ignores the late nights, the sacrifices, the discipline no one saw. Because if your success is luck, then it doesn't threaten their identity. It doesn't challenge their choices. It doesn't expose their excuses. A genuine friend might acknowledge timing, but they'll never reduce your growth to chance. Jealousy loves luck because luck requires no accountability. It allows them to say, if I had your luck, I'd be where you are too. And that lie protects them from asking the real question, why didn't I do the work? When someone keeps attributing your progress to luck, understand this. They're not doubting the universe. They're doubting you. Question 7. Do you really think this will last? This is the quiet curse. It doesn't sound hostile. It doesn't sound aggressive, but it plants decay. It introduces doubt where confidence should grow. It places an expiration date on your progress, without any evidence. Because deep down, they need your success to be temporary. If it lasts, then it becomes permanent proof. Proof that growth is possible. Proof that effort pays off. Proof that they chose comfort instead. So they soften the blow with concern. They call it realism. They pretend they're helping you stay grounded. But a real friend doesn't prepare you for failure while you're winning. They reinforce belief. This question isn't about sustainability. It's about hope. Their hope that you fall back to where they're comfortable. So if someone keeps asking whether your success will last, remember, people rarely question outcomes they're genuinely happy about. So what do you do with all of this? You don't confront aggressively. You don't accuse. You don't give speeches. You observe. You notice who celebrates you loudly and who merely tolerates you politely. You notice who asks questions to learn and who asks questions to cope. You notice who grows with you and who only feels comfortable around the old version of you. Because jealousy isn't loud. It's subtle, passive, repetitive. It's the same questions asked at different stages of your growth. Jealous friends don't want your downfall. They want your stagnation. They want you close enough to compare, but far enough not to outshine. That's why they don't sabotage you openly. They plant doubt and let you shrink yourself. And if you let them, you will. You don't need to be understood by people committed to misunderstanding your growth. You don't need approval from people who benefited from your limits. And you don't need to explain your evolution to anyone who isn't evolving with you. Outgrowing people isn't betrayal. It's evidence. Evidence that something in you decided to live. So if someone keeps questioning your wins, minimizing your effort, or guilt-tripping your growth, don't label them immediately. Just create distance. Protect your momentum. Protect your confidence. Protect your silence. Because the higher you go, the fewer people can clap genuinely. And that's not loneliness, that's elevation. Sometimes the real test of friendship isn't who stays when you're broken, it's who stays clean-hearted when you're becoming unstoppable. If this hit close to home, good. That discomfort isn't paranoia, it's clarity. Welcome to the Inside Shark.